Hey guys, so I'm going to do a video on what to do if your one of your solenoids are not working on one of your solenoid release machines. This is going to apply to all your skeet machines, all your trap machines, and all your limpet bunker machines that have the solenoid release on them. So let me get things moved around a little bit and we'll get started. Alright guys, the first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually see if test the solenoid to see if it works. There's a really easy way to do this. If you close the roller switch and hit the disarm button real quick, solenoid's going to fire. What I'd recommend you do if it's on the machine, I don't like sticking my fingers up in there. So what I'll do is I'll take a little pick or something, hold this switch back so I don't have my fingers in there, hit this arm real quick and see if the solenoid actually works. If that happens, your solenoid's good, you don't have to do anything, but you're probably not here because that's the case. So the first thing I'll go over is, let's just say this is not working right now. The first thing I'm going to do is to see if this 15 amp fuse is blown. Now keep in mind, some of the real old machines don't have this 15 amp in here. You've got a 5 here for the Albright, and all it does is cover the Albright. You've got a 50 amp breaker that covers the motor and the mechanical stuff on the machine. This 15 here is just for the solenoid. This will feed the 5-pin relay and the power to the solenoid itself. So all you're concerned with is everything over here. So what I'll do is treat this now as if the fuse is blown. The first thing you want to do is you want to ohm the solenoid. If that fuse is blown, the solenoid's probably shorted. So what I'll do now is this. You're going to find a little plug in the machine. It's going to be right over here near the 5-pin relay. The solenoid obviously plugs into here. So what I'm going to do is just take an ohm check on the solenoid itself. Now what I like to do is I use jumper leads. This saves me a lot of time. I've got my negative clipped to the machine ground, okay? You don't have to do that. I recommend you do because it gives you a free hand. But if you're not going to use this method, you're going to have to take both leads. And we're just going to check it right here. And if you look on the meter, 3.1 ohms. The solenoid's going to read anywhere from 0.8 to 3, 3.3, somewhere in there. They're going to vary around a little bit. But if you read 0, which is a complete short, or OL for open leads, that means the solenoid is going to be totally open. It's not going to work in that case either. So let's just say it's reading zeros. You're not going to have any continuity at all. That's the reason you're blowing the fuse. Now the machine could have also hard cocked, which means your arm timing is off a little bit. The arm's laying on the solenoid trigger too hard. The solenoid tried to fire and it couldn't. That could also blow the fuse. So you also want to check your timing. Make sure that arm's not really blasting through the solenoid trigger. And also make sure you're behind the machine when you're doing this. I don't have an arm right here to worry about, so I can get a little closer to this stuff right here. But let's say, if that's the case, you're gonna have to replace the solenoid. So if it's reading zeros, blowing the fuse, that's what's causing it. The next situation I'm gonna cover is if you're reading open, okay? So let me get things moved around a little bit and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so if your solenoid's reading open, you're gonna have to change it anyway. That just means it's not gonna work. Somehow the coils got opened up in there. But anyway, the most likely culprit in this whole thing is gonna be the 5-pin relay. So what I'm gonna do now is just show you what the voltages is supposed to look like and how to figure this out. Again, I've got my meter ground connected to the machine ground itself, so I can do this all with one hand. But anyway, if you come right to here, if you come off the fuse, that's your battery voltage right there. If you come to this pin here, you're going to see this has jumped over to here. That's going to be 12 volts all the time. Same with this one, 12 volts all the time. This one here is going to read 12 volts also, depending on where your switches are. So if I close the roller switch, let me hold this in, I'll hit this arm, solenoid fires, that goes down basically to 0. That's how the machine switches. But in an off position, when the machine's not being told to do anything, that's going to read 12, but not all the time, okay? So anyway, if you suspect that the 5-pin is bad, the easiest thing to do is I'll pull this one off of here. This is the feed going to the solenoid itself. This is the power feed itself that's coming off the fuse. I'm just going to touch these together. You can hear the solenoid fire. everything works, at that point I'll change the 5-pin out, and that'll take care of it. So that's about it for this, guys. Hope it helps you out, and I'll see you next time.